great to be here, and yeah, glad to share my story with the team so they can see, what you can do together, basically.
For sure. Now, I'll actually ask some questions to kind of preface exactly where we're at right now, what your past endeavors were, and what led to you building this service-based business that you are now operating today that's doing so well.
Yeah, if we start with the background, so just in behind here, I've got these couple little characters. They were from a previous startup I had built, which ended up getting acquired by an overseas e-commerce business. And after selling that business, myself and my business partner from that company were trying to decide what we wanted to do next with our life, basically, where we wanted to grow up.
Now, kind of saying, hey, what can we build from scratch? What can we actually go ahead and put forth? What skills do we have? What skills does Charles have that we can monetize, that we can build an experience around? Many people don't understand, ladies and gents. You may not know that you have a particular skill or talent that you can monetize, right, and help other people do what that particularly is. There's a lot of people who want to achieve the skill that you already have. And one of the main things is to realize that you should never really sell yourself short or cut yourself short, right? You want to realize there's always room for potential and there's massive room for scale no matter what it is that you're doing. Walk us through that, that kind of process in your head, how we came to that conclusion, and really how quickly did things get off the ground after you said, hey, I know exactly what I want to do. I have the 8-figure group system. Now let me execute.
Yeah, no, and I think you absolutely nailed it there, and I think it's a really important point. We started from nothing. We had no social media to the point where literally no social media accounts whatsoever. It wasn't like we had no following. We didn't even have a TikTok account set up yet, right? We started from absolute zero. So yeah, no social media, no group, and really no offer at the time either. And like I say, we, one of my favorite exercises right up front was we did our big topic board together, covered 50 different topics of what are all the things that we have skills that we can teach people and educate people on. And for me, that was a really eye-opening exercise, because when you're working in an industry, and I think a lot of us are like this, right? Your industry becomes the norm to you. And so you forget how much expertise you maybe have, because you're sort of surrounded by people that are maybe in the same industry, know the same sorts of things. But when we did that exercise and sat down and said what are all the things that we have skills in that we could help educate other people and train and provide services for, we really kind of came up with some really great ideas on all of these things that, to us might seem like day-to-day normal stuff, but, was a huge amount of value that we could offer to other people. I remember, I think within about a week of us starting, doing a post on the Empire Suite group, that I was having about 200 conversations a day with people. This was from brand new social media channels.
Say that one more time for the people in the back, Charles. How many conversations were you having a day? How many leads were you talking to a day with $0 spent on paid media from scratch?
Yeah, exactly. So over 200 conversations a day just from
day.
Following the process a day. Yeah, exactly. And this was all a massive part of learning what was our offering going to be. We were having these amazing conversations with people, and I think that was one of the important things as well, that us working together. Justin, I remember you saying to me quite clearly, talk to everyone, take every opportunity you can to talk to people, even if they're not going to end up becoming a customer, get a feel for who they are, what their needs are, what the pain points are you're going to be able to solve for them. And so we were having all these conversations, and it was just I say, with coding, it's such a broad industry. It's what direction do we go in? And those conversations every day, you say, zero paid advertising. This was all coming off some organic content that we created together, and just getting all this super valuable feedback around what problems people were having in the market, what kind of solutions we might be able to provide them that they'd be willing to pay for. And within, I would say it was less than 3 weeks, we had our first, which at the time seemed like a big deal, of 10K signed. Now the 10K deals are the little ones that come in every week, and and now we're targeting the 100K, 150K and beyond deals every week.
And that's pretty cool. And Nick, I'll kind of let you touch on that, how quickly things can change when you have a system, right? That's one of the most important things to realize, is when you have a particular system, you can actually achieve a goal quite quickly, right? So Nick, from start to finish, what's your opinion on the speed of reaching that?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I hope everybody that's watching this, you realize how valuable that is, just from, like you said, starting from nothing and then being able to, really use a system to harness the power of what's already there. So that's amazing and really valuable for everybody to understand, that using this, from the content board to mapping out the strategy to getting started, like things can start happening quickly. And so from the point that you said, all right, you guys worked on, designing a custom offer, and then you did the topic board where you came up with these ideas of how you can educate and give value for the audience that you want to reach. What I'd love to hear next, because I think this will be really valuable for everybody, is then what were those first steps like of actually starting to produce this content on the different channels that you set up, and then using, launching a Facebook group as a central hub that you were using to start building a community, and what that process was like, I guess.
The word you used there, which is super important, is consistency. I remember I've got this whiteboard sitting here next to me just off camera, and Justin was like, I want you to write this down. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this is what you're going to do every single Monday, every single Tuesday, every single Wednesday. And that's what we did. We just planned out. And so it was like, these were the days we were shooting short form videos. These were the days we were shooting long form video. These were the times of the days where we were going to be out, like just kind of grinding and hunting for the next, where the next deal might be. But once again, it wasn't just like, I'm just going to throw you out into the wild and you go figure it out. Everything had a system in behind it, and everything was like, okay, today we're focusing on this part of the business, and this is where we're going to go looking for, the solution to whatever that day's kind of topic, challenge, whatever it may have been was. And I think to your point, we had no Facebook group at that point. But once again, and I think the other thing that you touched on there, Nick, is like you mentioned creating value. And that's what it was about. Like the first phase was not about trying to sign a deal or sell something. It was like get out there and create as much value as you can to attract the type of people that resonate with that value, and then encourage them to join your Facebook group. And that was what we did.
Really just following a system, guys. And when we say we custom build from absolute scratch, we're literally building your business from custom scratch, right? And when that happens and you start to see some consistent flow, you're realizing that, wow, I have a custom built business that is bringing in lead flow on autopilot, right? This is an asset that is worth something. Charles, you're a company, as we know, you can sell it right now. You have assets, you have things that are actually worth money, right? Right. So not only just building a business, not only are we constructing a proper movement and bringing in cash flow and doing great deals and helping people do what they need in terms of coding, you're building a business that is worth something.
In my previous businesses, we spent a lot of money on Facebook advertising, Google advertising, all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, like I really hated it. Like I hated the fact that I was so stuck with them. Like my lead flow depended on how the Google algorithm went for that week, And I know like coming into this business, that was one of the first things I remember saying was like, I don't want another business that relies on Google advertising for lead flow. Like whatever we do, it has to be a system that's going to keep bringing in leads every week without me handing over more money to Google.
Yeah, and what's even more amazing too is that your industry is competitive. Learning coding skills and programming and development is very competitive these days. So to be able to start and come up with a topic board and a content plan and just say, all right, I'm doing it, and just start doing it and then start seeing those results. Number one, testament to you and what you've been out there doing every day is fantastic. And also I think it should be like a wake-up call for a lot of people. Like if you just stick to a system, you really can start to move the needle quicker than you think, because that's what it takes, really, just the daily consistent effort of continuing to put it out there in a strategic way.
Right. And now you're in the service-based program doing exceptionally well here also, right? Because there's systems, right? There's no concept or crap or throwing stuff at the wall hoping it sticks. It's just following a proven methodology and making sure it's actually followed to a T, right? And that goes to show what we do here at Beyond Six Figures is battle tested and it's system driven, right? And that's one of the most important things that we pride ourselves on here, guys, is actually having a proven game plan to do it the correct way. So you're not wasting money, doing things wrong, wasting time, even worse, right? And actually having real forward movement in what you're doing and seeing movement where the rubber meets the road, right? And that's ultimately what happens when you follow a proven system and you're consistent with it. Success isn't really an option. You can achieve it if you actually commit to it. You just got to stay consistent with what you do. And when you have a system like this and an offer to match, I mean, it's very, very hard to not do well if you're actually motivated to do well.
And I think I wanted to touch on a point you raised there. I think when you're first starting a business, it can be really easy to flounder, right? Like it can be really easy to not know what to do, not know the next step. And like to your point about the systems, there was not a day that I woke up that I didn't know what I needed to do, right? Like every day there was a system or a process or like, okay, once we know that this system's working, here's the very next system we're going to implement. Yeah, I think in terms of through to today, we scaled those leads back? Yes, but we've done it on purpose because now we know like exactly who our target market is. We know exactly the type of people that when they see our offer, there's no process for like them asking about what is the program and how's it going to work and all that. They're just like, they're exactly the right client profile. And so we shortcut the sales process a whole lot. And so I'd say to your point, like, yeah, we purposely scaled back the leads in a way, but we scaled them back to super, super quality leads now. So
that's the name of the game. Kind of run it up, get crazy flow and do your thing and optimize. I think that's incredible, Charles, right? And if you had to speak to someone right now, maybe Charles, maybe someone stuck at $0, right? Didn't start yet, or someone stuck at 10K a month in their service-based business. What's your advice to them?
I think the first thing in terms of thinking of some of my learnings going through the program together, one was, to be super open-minded up front, like not coming in with a closed mindset of this is what I want to do. The market's going to tell you what they need you to do. And so if you can go out with a really open mind, put out lots of value, as we said, around the areas that you can help people and get that market feedback. And I think that's a really important point, is get that market feedback. A big part of what we did together, and the reason why I was having those 200 conversations a day was, we tested lots of different angles in terms of like what kind of messaging resonates with people. And I think it's very easy to come in and say like, no, we've made up our mind. This is what we're doing. This is what we're good at. But like the market might not be ready for that. The market might not be interested in it. And I think, like to your point, Nick, around coding, like you jump on Google, like how many software developers are out there? How many like Shopify experts are out there in terms of like Shopify development and all that kind of stuff, right? And that was one of my big worries coming into this. Like I came from a business previously where we had like a super tight niche. We knew exactly who our target market was. And now I'm going into this industry called coding that like, there's a million other coders out there. So how am I going to differentiate myself? And the honest answer is the market told me how to differentiate myself.
That's amazing, Charles. That's amazing. And walk us through giving value. What does giving value mean? How do we give value?
I think this also for me was like a bit of a learning curve in terms of, to give value, you really need to look at it from like, how can I help? Like by the time somebody's like viewed my content, read my post, whatever it may be, how do they walk away and like maybe implement something that creates value for them with like no expectation that anything's going to come back to you? It's like there was no call to action at the bottom of the post that said like buy my program or join my Facebook group or anything like that. It was quite literally like, how do I put value out into the market that people that are in my niche are going to look at, and by the time they've consumed that content, they're going to want to go away and do something, whether it's in their Shopify store, whether it's in like a custom app that they want to build, or their own startup that they kind of create.
Now, Charles, if there's one piece of advice, again, that you had to give, to somebody and, they had to succeed. If this person didn't succeed, right, it's a problem, right? What is one piece of advice that you would give them to almost ensure that they can succeed with their service-based business? Something that's, tangible and a genuine, proper piece of advice that you don't think you could do it without.
I think like one thing that was really eye-opening for me was, like in the age of social media, we all get used to seeing these like big influencers that have like massive followings and like millions of video views and all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've got a video on YouTube right now that I think, if I'm lucky, is up to 60 views. That one video got me over $100,000 worth of contracts.
And that's such a good point. Don't look at the vanity metrics.
So good.
We know there's people with millions and millions and millions of viewers and subscribers, and we are making a lot more than those individuals, right? Because we understand the power of a system. Charles, go deeper on that. That's incredible. 60 views, 100,000. It's about actually nurturing the people who are watching you and not trying to go for the next person.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like, don't get hooked on the vanity metrics. You know, if you're putting that value out there, you don't need millions of views and, you know, this massive community. You just need to hit the right people with the right message. And like I say, you know, like 50 views on YouTube is nothing, but you wouldn't look at that video now and say that's made him over $100,000, right? Like, and that's why I say it's so important. Don't get hooked on those vanity metrics. Just focus on you know, that true value content that speaks directly to your target audience, and the money will follow.
I think that's absolutely incredible.
That's so good. Yeah.
It's really, you know, main pillars to this is actually put out value, don't expect in return, be consistent, right? And actually have a game plan and a system with what you do, right? And if you marry all those things together, you can do very, very well in this business. Charles, amazing stuff here today, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Charles, where can they find you if we need some coding done?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, thanks to my content plan, you can basically find me everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you like. But yeah, I think I mean, I've got my own Facebook group now as well, which is all about building startups and coding. Just hit me up on Facebook. Look, but yeah, I think the kind of parting wisdom is, yeah, consistency, and, you know, really create a plan and systems that you know, that you can follow to build your business, rather than just trying to make it up as you go.
So great stuff there, my friend. I love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy it. And if anyone needs anything from myself, Nick, Charles, reach out. We're always here for y'all. And we're just literally a few button clicks away, guys. So have a good rest of your day. Enjoy it. And we'll see you guys soon.